Do carbs make us fat? That is something I get questioned about quite often, and the truth of the matter actually is, it's not the carbs per se that make us gain weight. In order to really answer that, let's first look at what makes us gain weight. What's the real reason we gain weight? And that is simply energy balance. If we consume too much energy, we will gain weight, irrelevant where that food comes from, being it protein, carbs, or fats. If we consume less energy than the body needs, we will lose weight. That's universal. The thing is, we always look for the quick fixes. We look to villainize one thing above the other. In that way, it's not carbs that are making us fat. It's the overconsumption of energy that is causing us to gain that excess weight. I'm not saying carbs don't help in getting to that point where we overconsume on energy. Where we need to be vigilant about carbs. If we eat highly processed carbohydrates, that can lead us to overeating. And what do I mean with that? Let's take a whole unprocessed carb. What do I mean? If you can see what the carb was originally. Let's take a potato. One nice large potato. That's around 100 grams. That 100 grams of potato is only around 80 calories. Okay, that's actually not a bunch because 20 grams is carbs, 80 grams is literally the water, the moisture content of that potato. Now, let's go down a level. Let's take rice. 100 grams of cooked rice, we're looking at between 90 and 100 calories. Still not a bad choice, because if you think when you cook rice, where does that water go to? It gets soaked up into the rice. Now, let's go down one lower. Let's take pasta. 100 grams of cooked pasta, we're looking around 150 calories. It's 50 more, 70 more than the potato. Why is that? It's more processed. But also when you cook pasta, where does that water go? Some in the pasta. But usually at the end when you cook your pasta, you throw out a lot of water. So now let's go to something even more processed. Let's go bread now. 100 grams of everyday white bread, even brown bread, it doesn't matter here actually. That's 265 calories. That's 3 times more than the potato. So keep in mind, we are still only focusing on 100 grams of food. That slices of bread per gram has more energy because it is drier, less moisture. Let's go a step further. What about all these crackers and Provitas and rye crisps and all these things? What do they look like? Now, 100 grams of Provitas is 360 calories. Reason? They're even more dense and more concentrated than potato or the rice. So what I'm getting at here, when we think carbohydrates, where that carb comes from, it does matter. The more processed it is, the drier it generally is, and also the more energy we have per gram. In the long run, that means it's easier to overconsume on energy. That is usually why we say carbs can lead to weight gain, because it makes it easy to overconsume energy. It's not that carbs are inherently bad. It's what carbs we choose that makes the difference. So if I had to choose what carbs to put in my diet to keep healthy, to actually fuel the body, the best, which is legumes, beans, pinto beans, mung beans, black beans, lentils, chickpeas, black-eyed peas, and the list goes on and on. Beans are amazing. They're high in protein, high in fiber. Second best, whole grains. Quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, spelt, oats, barley, and the list goes on. And also in that second tier, I will also say tubers, potatoes, sweet potatoes. These carbs are the cornerstone of a healthy diet. But generally when we say carbs, we think all these highly processed things. Provitas, rye breads, crisp breads, sandwiches, pizzas, pastas, all these kinds of stuff. What we do with those makes it so easy to overeat on them. Carbs aren't the problem. The kind of carbs you are eating with your food, that's where the energy actually comes from. So if you want to take out carbs out of your diet, by all means do it. Remove the processed ones, but don't think the healthy good ones will suddenly make you gain weight. No, they're actually very healthy. So that's my take on why carbs don't make us fat. But that being said, the more active you are, the more you can get away with more carb consumption. The less active you are, make sure your carbs is unprocessed. And the rule of thumb, If you can see what that carb was for consuming it, you're on the right path. If you can't see what that carb was, that falls into the category of processed carbohydrates.